Good morning, Kitchissippi. It is Friday, August the 16th. This is a video version of the 400th Kitchissippi Weekly Ward newsletter. A reminder that you can subscribe to the newsletter and get more information about the items that are in it at kitchissippiward.ca. I'm not quite back in the office yet. I'll be back on Monday after an epic road trip. It will be slow for a couple of weeks as City Council gets underway in earnest with its various committee and council meetings in September, but I am looking forward to what promises to be a raucous return to business as usual at City Hall over the next couple of weeks. Let's jump right into the newsletter. The first item that I have in there is to highlight the call that has been made by Mayor Sutcliffe with respect to the inequitable, unfair treatment that Ottawa has been receiving at the federal government's hand with respect to how much they pay us in property taxes, as well as the provincial government with respect to how they've been supporting transit in Toronto versus Ottawa. There is more information at the marksutcliffe.ca website. The crux of the issue is that the feds have been underpaying us for years for the value of the property in the city of Ottawa. On the transit side, Toronto is receiving a sweetheart deal on transit funding compared to Ottawa. It is critical for the sustainability of this city that we address those issues. Listen, I know that there is a lot that one could say about the current budget challenges that Ottawa is facing. For 10 years, I've advocated for a different approach to our city budget than that which we've pursued. A lot I could say, but I won't, because independent of how we've budgeted in the past or how we'll budget in future, those issues of payment in lieu of taxes and transit funding have to be addressed on an urgent basis, again, for the sake of the sustainability of our city. I'd encourage everyone to visit marksutcliffe.ca to read more. He has a petition on his website, which I would encourage people to sign, or if you don't feel comfortable signing a petition, email your MP and your MPP directly about the payment in lieu of taxes and the transit funding issues about which you can read more at marksutcliffe.ca. While I was on holidays, I was a little dismayed to find out that LRT frequency is planned to be reduced to something like 10 minutes during weekdays off-peak. I've written my thoughts and I've put a link in the newsletter to what I think about that. I'm disappointed. Just in the past few weeks, several times I've done multiple stop errands using the LRT. I get to the platform, I wave goodbye to the train as it's leaving. Obviously, that's not every time. That's luck of the draw. But if you miss your train twice and headways are 10 minutes, you're spending 20 minutes just waiting for the train. That's not the fast or convenient or reliable transit service that we have to provide. Our Transit Commission is going to be meeting on September the 12th. I'm trying to determine with other colleagues what my approach is going to be, but we need to push back at that decision to reduce LRT frequency off-peak during the week. Also in the newsletter this week, an important meeting on the comprehensive zoning bylaw coming up on August the 29th. That'll be in the evening on Zoom. It's ward specific for our ward, plus Rideau Vanier, plus Rideau Overbrook, taking a look at a fairly high level of what the comprehensive zoning bylaw is, what are the concepts contained within it, what might be some of the implications for our ward. I know that some of you are very expert in zoning. You may not get a lot out of this very high level look, but for the layperson, for someone who's not a zoning practitioner or a city planner, I'm looking forward to your participation to learn more about what the comprehensive zoning bylaw review is going to mean in terms of the greater density, more locations for commercial, no minimum parking, all that sort of stuff. There's a link in the newsletter to register for the Zoom session. I hope you'll consider attending. This morning, I did finally get to the CMHC housing data that came out at the end of last month. Again, epic road trip. I've updated my tracker this morning. It's really interesting. We had really healthy completions during the month of June. Record completions in terms of housing, but there's nowhere near as much as there normally is in the pipeline under construction. There are a very low number of construction starts. It'll be interesting to see in light of the stats that I was looking at this morning, where we end up over the course of the year in terms of housing starts. Those numbers can be viewed using the link that I've put in the newsletter. It's at kitchissippiward.ca. The Committee of Adjustment is not super busy for us, but some really interesting files on there. The Committee of Adjustment will be meeting first on August the 21st. They have 2 applications. The first of which is at the former Granite Curling Club. They're applying for a variance to take the bridge that was supposed to connect the 2 towers, very tall towers, from a 4-story structure way up on the building to a single-story pedestrian bridge at the 2nd story of that building. They're within their rights to ask for it. It probably does meet the 4 tests by which variances are determined, but I am disappointed. I thought that that pedestrian bridge would have added a little bit of architectural panache in a stretch that has been very workaday with respect to its architecture. I like the Metropole. I thought this would have been a nice architectural complement to that, but I do understand that when you're talking about the economics of high-rises, the more often you can take the same forms, go up one level, pour, move the forms up 1 level, pour, without having to reset all that, the less expensive the building becomes. We know it's a very challenging environment for the builders right now to get shovels in the ground, so I understand why they're asking for this, but I did want to express my disappointment with that. And at the corner of Holland and Kenilworth, much less interesting, the applicants are seeking to subdivide the property into 2 separate parcels to create separate ownership of each half for an existing semi-detached, and they've got some work around easements and right-of-ways between the neighbors as well. So the full details of those 2 are in the newsletter. And then I'm at 388 Richmond Road. I'll just make sure I get that address correct again. At the Committee of Adjustment meeting on September the 4th, here at 388 Richmond Road, McDonald's is proposing to vary the parking from the required 18 parking spots to 0. No surprise there. That is the direction in which our official plan is going. Very few of the restaurants along this stretch have parking, but I know people will be interested to find out that it's McDonald's proposing that at this location in the former Scotiabank behind me. You can see all the details about that in the newsletter. That is the newsletter for this week. I'm looking forward to a beefier one the following. I hope everyone's enjoying the dog days of summer. Just a couple of weeks left with a military plane flying overhead. Interesting. Kitchissippi, I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next week.